India. This is my first opportunity to actually come to India, so being able to come here and actually meet with all of you is actually very special. You know, the people are wonderful. The food is even better than the people, and I love it so much. I have to say, like, when I eat back home in the West, it's certainly not Indian anymore. So for me, so amazing stuff, and I couldn't be more happy to be here. You know, I do want to kind of speak to all of you today because I know how important Sitecore is for you and your businesses here, and I want you to understand how important all of you are to Sitecore's business and our future going forward together. Right? So it's a really meaningful thing for us to come to India and put our arms around this community because we know how important we are to all of you, and we thank you for that support over the years. Want to kind of just first thank our sponsors. You know, certainly these events are not possible without the great support from our partner community, and we really appreciate all the work that they do day in and day out with our products, but also being able to actually sponsor these events and fund these events are certainly important to kind of build this community as well. So really appreciate all of your support and your continued support in the future. So, you know, this is really my first kind of appearance as Chief Product Officer. You know, this has been a whirlwind at Sitecore over the last few months. As you know, Dave O'Flanagan, the former Chief Product Officer, is now the CEO, which is a really exciting time for all of us because what that means is Sitecore is moving back to a position of being a product-led organization. Right, so having a chief executive that actually deeply understands what it means to build product and what it means to deliver value for customers is fundamentally a different mindset than what we had in the past, right? So we were very successful over the past 3 years. We did incredible things. We built incredible products, but we have to take the next step as an organization. And being able to do that behind a product leader like Dave is incredibly important. It's incredibly stressful for me because I can't actually just be the product guy where the CEO doesn't know anything about product. So he's going to make my life pretty difficult, but it is really an exciting time at Sitecore. So, you know, if we think about what Dave's kind of looking to do, it's really kind of focusing on three things. The focus is on the product, so we want to continue the success we've had over the last 3 years. You know, we built an incredible suite of products. We brought 11 products to market with the acquisitions of the various composable products. We launched XM Cloud. We've done incredible things. We want to continue that momentum as we kind of move forward. We want to focus on our people. We want to focus on our people in the community to make sure that we kind of give you the tools you need to be successful in your day-to-day. So how do we kind of make sure our products actually meet your needs and give you the opportunity to be successful and grow your businesses? And we also recognize the importance of the ecosystem, which is kind of why we're here, is to kind of really kind of reinvest in all of you, because we know that you help us amplify our business much more than we can do on our own. So you're very, very meaningful to us, and we look forward to continuing this over time. And, you know, together we will shape the digital experience landscape. So, you know, as we kind of think more, specifically about product, you know, we're really looking to simplify some of our messaging. You know, there is a recognition that when we actually broaden the portfolio, we got to make it complicated, right? Like it was no longer just a single XMXP product we need to bring to market. We now have 11 different options you can choose from. And so we recognize that this created a little bit of confusion. So we really want to work very diligently as a business to simplify that message so that you guys can make much more meaningful, clear conversations with your customers and actually lead into the right outcomes. We want to make sure our customers and all of you understand that choice is an imperative for us as a business. So this isn't about forcing you to take certain decisions to kind of go on a journey that we want you to take on. We actually want to bring you along on your customer's journey. So if they happen to be invested in some of our platform products, we want to give them the tools to actually stay on those platform products and get more value out of those products. So choice is key for us, and all of you are important in actually helping choice come to life at Sitecore. But we want to continue to innovate on the products as well. The market's moving very, very quickly, so we can't really rest on our laurels. You know, you see with the explosion of AI, the market is very, very competitive, and customers are innovating very, very quickly. So how do we actually match that innovation while protecting our heritage as a company and our customer base as well? So you'll see a lot about what we're doing on innovation today, and we're really kind of ramping up towards a big reveal at Symposium in Nashville. I think I was supposed to click through these slides. So further choice on choice. We firmly believe that giving you the freedom to choose what best suits your business needs is important. We wanted you to be able to host your digital experience platform your way, whether that's hosting that yourself, whether it's hosting in our managed cloud product, or it's delivered as a SaaS solution. We want to make sure you retain the choice to take the decisions that are relevant for your brand and can support you where you are. Some businesses prefer SaaS and composable and love it. Others actually aren't ready to make that choice, and that's okay. We need to make sure we can support them through that journey together. There are some industries and some regions that actually just are not available to actually deliver true multi-tenant SaaS. And so we need to recognize that and find the right combination of tools to support those customers. We want to make a clear commitment to our existing XP and XM customers that our platform product is not going away. Full stop. There's no strategy to get rid of it. There's going to be a roadmap for it. There's going to be 10.4 was just released. There'll be a 10.5. There'll be a 10.6. So I want all of you to take that away from us, is that we are committed to delivering on our XP platform. And as we innovate, we want to kind of use our heritage as a CMS company. I mean, if you think about Sitecore created the CMS category, right? You shouldn't forget that. Sitecore then created the digital experience category, right? You shouldn't forget that. And now we have the composable DXP. So we have always been pushing the boundaries of what's possible in this market. But we have to make sure we kind of carry forward the heritage and make sure that we all stand behind it and are proud of that heritage, not hide from it, right? And so this is really important for us to make sure that we actually stand behind our values and show everybody, show the world that we know this, we've got this, right? Don't doubt us, because we've actually created this category multiple times, and we'll continue to redefine it in the future. And hopefully you'll see kind of where we're going to do that as we kind of get into the next wave of innovation. As we think about the choice that we've kind of been, the journey we've been going on at Sitecore, we clearly believe that the future of the delivery of software is SaaS. I don't think that's really disputable at this point, but I think what we recognize, in the same way that we think the future of driving your cars is electric. The reality, though, is that a lot of folks put a lot of money investment in the old ways. Doesn't mean the old ways are bad, right? There's still value in actually driving a petrol car. Some people really love driving petrol cars. They've got advantages over electric vehicles. And so we need to think about it in this way. To say, well, the future is electric. Still making investments to properly drive petroleum vehicles and make them more effective to drive, to have lower emissions, right? So we're not moving that. And we want to use this construct to think about our products as well. So as we kind of innovate here in the cloud, how do we continue to actually bring value and innovation back into our platform products? And that's kind of key to kind of some of the thinking that we're doing inside the organization and as we're making investments. And so this slide has gotten a little bit of a revamp. Whereas in the past, XM Cloud used to be at the center of this SUGCON slide. That probably did a bit of damage, right? Because it wasn't quite what we wanted to articulate. And the reality is we want to elevate XP to be at an equal peer level with XM Cloud, so that customers have choice and can host it in their own way, and they can continue to take advantage of innovation as they're happening in the cloud services, right? So this is really, really important for us, and really make sure everybody understands our renewed focus on ensuring the right-hand side of this screen is getting as much attention as the left-hand side. And so with that, we know we've released 10.4 just this past few months. I guess this was, April, when we announced 10.4. So this is actually a dated slide, sorry. This offered customers simplified personalization management, composable integrations and analytics. We improved security. There's over 200 features and improvements that went into 10.4. So really building on strength of our products. And if you look at some of the things we've done, again, the team's constantly at work to make sure that we can bring additional value and address key concerns for customers on our platform products. Some notable examples are improved accessibility in the content editor, a long-standing problem that customers have been looking for better accessibility tooling in our content editor. We've also made personalization rules management something that can be done and extended by marketers without the need for developers. So there's continued thought process going into how we improve our products. And as we think of the longer-term roadmap, so as we start to conceptualize what 10.5 is going to look like, it really kind of boils down to three main themes. How do we continue to improve the experience for the marketer to make sure that the marketer can unlock the value that's inherent in XP? Like, we understand XP is one of the most powerful platforms on the planet, but it's not always easy for people to get value. So we run into a ton of customers all over the world that have bought this great product, but they really don't know how to get the right value out of it. So how do we actually make this easier, both for a marketer and both for a developer using our tools? And we want to make sure that they can integrate with our composable stack more effectively. So this isn't just surface level integration, but meaningful integrations about how to use those capabilities alongside your platform deployments. And one of the ways we're actually doing that is actually moving towards a module-based approach. The module-based approach will actually allow us to actually start to ship innovation faster on the platform release cycle. So right now we have a 1 to 1.5 year release cycle for a platform product, but fundamentally it's no longer acceptable for you to wait 1.5 years for new innovation. So we want to move to a module approach so we can actually ship value faster and make sure that our customers can get value faster. And the reality too is if I use a module approach, I can actually start to think about backporting those modules to lower level environments. So this is no longer just a concern for 10.4, or 10.3, or 10.4 customers, but we can potentially look to go even further back. So if you've got a customer that's on a very big scaled implementation on 9.x, potentially this gives us an opportunity to actually deliver value to them as well. So again, trying to provide the right amount of choice for our customers so that they can get the right value out of their investments. And so if you look at this slide here, this is a roadmap slide, just kind of tie it back to the view of the electric versus the petroleum. The view here is that as we start to innovate in SaaS, we're doing great things, right? We've got this new visual building experience. We've got integration with personalized. How do we start thinking about pulling some of that value back into our platform products? And as we think about our new AI strategy, how do we make sure that we can make that available to our platform products as well? So you'll see a theme in the way the product team is conceptualizing the roadmap to make sure that certain capabilities can actually pull back for use in the platform. So we're not just innovating in one channel, we're actually making the innovation available to the entire team. And again, this is really just a view of kind of moving Experience Platform kind of to the front of the story more effectively. We see a ton more customers combining our composable products with our platform offerings, mostly as a result of the work that all of you do every single day. And we're seeing a growing number of customers starting to get business success with XP serving as the cornerstone and complementing our SaaS offerings. So if we think about some of the examples, Mandarin Oriental, has headless architecture on Sitecore Managed Cloud, and they see a 41.5% increase in new site visits, 49% more return visits, and a 25% increase in brand loyalty. This is not on our new products. This is on a tried and true XP platform. L'Oreal is harnessing the power of generative AI at scale with Sitecore using our platform products as well. And they've got over 500 websites across 36 brands. And we've got Thule here, a group success story, 35% increase in conversions. They integrated their omnichannel marketing automation with Sitecore CDP, foundationally with XP. And so they've seen optimization across 80 markets, showcasing the value of combining the SaaS solution with their existing investments. So we're seeing many, many more customers start to show proof points that these products together can be game-changing. And so, we want to kind of hear these stories from you, and it's why this community is so relevant for us, because you are the ones that are actually creating this value. We can only provide the tools. You guys have to bring those tools to life with your customers. And so if we think about XM Cloud, XM Cloud is our fastest adopted product, gaining significant market share. Maybe in some pockets, too soon for some of the customers that are kind of learning how to navigate XM Cloud. But no less, we actually are seeing great success and traction here. We've got Accor integrated XM Cloud with their Content of Dam and Order Cloud, resulting in a completely transformative online experience. We've got a world-class marketer UX in XM Cloud. We've got fit-for-purpose digital developer experience. We've got a headless architecture and edge delivery. And we've got actually security and compliance that's top-notch for a SaaS product. We actually are very close to announcing the ability for us to actually be HIPAA certified with XM Cloud, which is a huge opportunity for us, mostly in the US. But if you're doing delivery projects in the US, that it's very relevant for healthcare industry in the United States. And so, some example customers, I'm not going to kind of iterate on all of them here, but some customer use cases. So BDR Thermea was actually the first customer to actually take the journey with us. They did a full migration. They did it in, honestly, a number of weeks. They aimed to simplify the entire upgrade process. And this example was really a testament to that if you do the right work up front, and you prepare the customer about the journey that they're about to take, and they're actually already kind of oriented towards headless architecture, XM Cloud is a pretty easy win. But there are some complexities in an XFXT implementation that have to be thought through, and you have to be prepared for. And if your customer or yourselves aren't prepared for that journey or don't understand it effectively, you could run into challenges. But we started to see real customer success on very accelerated timelines where customers are getting value. And I think you'll see a lot of folks here today in the expo that actually are building accelerators to help customers through this journey as well. And so as we get more experience as a community of implementing XM Cloud, we're going to see more and more acceleration and success stories as well. I'm going to get into more details here, but I think as we think about XM Cloud and its future, we do need to understand how we're going to bring the AI story to life inside of XM Cloud. We do have a ton of feature enhancements that we want to do. It's not just about feature parity with our platform products, it's about solving problems in a potentially new way as well. We don't want to just recreate the wheel. We've got the wheel already. It does its job very, very well. But how do we actually ensure that we're solving the problems of today with our XM Cloud product? Things like site boundary and site management. So we know site management at an enterprise level is very challenging and very tricky. So we want to make sure that we give you the right tools to actually allow for you to manage a marketplace of site templating that can actually accelerate the deployment of new sites by a marketer. So kind of lower the barrier of entry for a marketer to be able to do this. We want to continue to work on unifying the code base components patterns. Right? We've got a number of different flavors of component patterns that we offer today. We want to simplify that so there's a single experience for building a component in Sitecore, and that's a kind of very natural way for developers to interact with that. We want to get to a framework agnostic JSS. And we know that we made a decision to kind of go to market with Next.js for XM Cloud. That was a deliberate choice because it was the best framework that was available at that time for delivering headless experiences. But we know that creates some challenges as well. So now that we're in market, we can now start to build additional patterns as well and get to framework agnosticism. And we want to do easier local front-end developers. So Liz Nelson is here. I know she might be under the weather. I'm not sure she's in the room. If you get a chance to join her session, I think tomorrow it'll either be Liz or Peter presenting this. You'll get a sense for what we're doing on the developer experience within XM Cloud. So if we think about the marketer-first tools, again, we are in this kind of flux as a business, and I think you've seen this change happen in the market where the monolithic digital experience platform, the all-in-one, started to get challenged by upstart, kind of more SaaS, agile kind of competitors, like a headless CMS, as an example. But the reality is that they pulled the conversation way too far towards the developer. And there's so many hidden costs actually implementing a headless CMS that actually people are starting to feel that pain and that tension in their experience. And oftentimes the marketer is completely left out in the dark. They don't have the right tooling to do this. There's no experience composition. There's no marketer-first tooling. So we want to make sure we reclaim our position as having the best-in-class WYSIWYG builder and front-end building tooling in the market. And so we're kind of continuing to advance kind of the story of XM Cloud with new site management capabilities, with a site boundary capability, so I can actually create a templated set of sites that are available to teams, and we can accelerate the creation of new sites. So if I talk about the L'Oreal use case, they've got 500 plus sites on Sitecore. The ability for them to deploy new sites can take some time for them. So they're working on tooling to basically accelerate that. We want to make it part of the out-of-the-box product. So if you register a template, you can actually accelerate the deployment of new experiences from those templates. They're very easy. The next is the marketplace. And this is something that actually is very, very important for me. So if we think about what made Sitecore, it was the ability for our partners and our customers to customize our platform. Right? You could do whatever you wanted with Sitecore. And that was great until it wasn't great. And it made it difficult for us to actually support it and actually make sure it was upgrade proof and we can give you value quickly because of all the customization that happened in the product. But at the end of the day, that's still what drives success for Sitecore. So when we think about X and Cloud, and we think about our SaaS portfolio, we want to make sure that they're considered in the same way, so that we can create extensibility patterns so you can continue to develop against the platform and add additional novel value for your customers. And so we're working towards building a marketplace, which will be a next generation extensibility framework for using Sitecore. This will allow you to register applications with our portal experience, which will give you shared identity and ultimately access to the application context so you can interact with the underlying applications themselves, which ultimately will lead to the ability to register plugins that can be surfaced inside of the applications, inside the feature set of the applications as well. So if you have a site management tool for, let's say, translation management, that can be registered as a site application. If you have a specific experience that maybe surfaces inside of a page and you want to give accessibility evaluation to a marketer, you can register at the page level. So this is really important for us to kind of make sure that we give all of you the ability for you to actually deliver great value for your customers and then make it available for everybody potentially in a marketplace. So we're working on the details in terms of monetization, that this will be kind of an actual marketplace that we'll commercialize. But right now it's just about registering, being able to register apps for consumption and make them available in the platform and interact with the underlying apps, the underlying applications. The other thing here that's important is that what this would allow us to do as well is give you the ability to actually use your existing .NET skill base, right? So right now, if you wanted to build a back office kind of .NET application and host it yourself, you could potentially build that, make it available and register it as an application that can actually communicate with our front-end web apps. So this allows you to kind of continue to keep using the resources that you have today and actually continue to drive value for Sitecore. One of the things we're working towards is also a unified profile. So, what we want to do is be able to create a singular, consistent visitor identity. So as we think about all of the ways in which we might be taking telemetry data from customers using our experiences, whether it's search, whether it's personalized, whether it's in X and Cloud, we want to be able to actually take that and put it into a data lake that Sitecore managed, to give Sitecore the ability to provide our customers with a unified customer profile. And so this will actually help us build a holistic approach to analytics, to capitalize on experience analytics that span visitors, contents, and products, giving everybody a common analytical framework that's relatively rare in the market. And this will serve as a foundation for us to actually think about how do we bring AI tools to bear on that data. So once I start to understand more about how our users are engaging with content, it can actually give me the opportunity to take the next step with this, which is getting to insights. So the next area of focus is how we transform that data into insights, providing a blended view of site, components, content, and visitors, with a comprehensive perspective to kind of help us see beyond the data to get to real actionable insights. And so our analytics will enable you to understand critical paths that customers are taking, not just as a flat journey, but as something more dynamic over in-context KPIs, not looking to just reacting to the data, but also anticipating trends and helping to shape the experience. And so we really think this is going to be a game changer for Sitecore, providing insights that are not only superior, but also actionable. We feel this is the future of customer engagement, empower teams with the ability to measure and enhance the customer experience at scale. So I did want to spend a little bit of time about Content Hub because I think Content Hub is doing its thing in the background. Very successful scale digital asset management platform used at some of the biggest brands in the world. But the reality is if a large brand comes looking for a DAM, they're going to buy Content Hub. But I'm not sure all of you know enough about Content Hub. So I'm asking all of you to leave this room thinking, hey, that Content Hub seems pretty cool. How do I know more about it? How do I learn more about it? And so one of the things to kind of understand is that Content Hub is a recognized leader in the digital asset management market. It's recognized as a standout third generation digital asset management system. So Content Hub exists specifically to address the limitations of most pure play DAM vendors. Digital asset management vendors that only focus on video or assets or media fundamentally don't offer the breadth of capability that Content Hub does. That gets into textual content management, providing the business context around your organization, your products, etc. So being able to actually centralize that and aggregate that is incredibly important. And you see Content Hub is the only DAM provider that's actually recognized as a strong performer or leader in both the DAM and the CMP quadrant. And actually, this is actually published documents now that we are a leader in the Gartner CMP Magic Quadrant. So really important to kind of understand that we have best-in-class upstream content management tools available to you that are channel agnostic, and that can be the central foundation for an organization's assets. And so as we think about how we kind of take the product further, we are also trying to understand how to leverage AI. We've had AI in the products for many, many years. We were the first to use Azure Vision indexing for asset tagging, for video transcription, and things like that. But we're really moving beyond that to offer foundational vector-based search. And what vector-based search will allow us to do is actually perform visual asset searches. So if I want to actually, without any upfront metadata tagging, right? So the challenge with dams are generally maintenance, right? Someone has to actually ensure that the assets are curated effectively, they've been tagged appropriately, so that they can be found. But what we're seeing now with AI and some of the models available, so Clip is a great example of an image to text vector model. I can get to some vectors embeds and actually make these assets searchable without any metadata whatsoever. And I can make them relevant and contextual search possible as well without any upfront metadata management. And it's incredibly important. I can even upload a new image and actually find assets that look similar to that asset. So if you're looking to kind of understand copyright infringement, if someone's using an asset somewhere, you can actually take that asset off the website, you can upload it to your DAM and see how that maps back to your existing repository. And this will be also fundamental to us as we think about a new deep search experience that's GPT powered. So if I want to have a conversation with my asset repository, I can just ask it a couple of simple questions. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to create a winter campaign for Berlin. And actually have that contextually look into my asset repository and return the relevant results. So it's about intent as a marketer, and then getting the assets recommended to you based on that intent, without having to explicitly look for something. We're also extending our content authoring capabilities that we've released in our Content Hub 1 product to allow for text generation. So being able to actually create content on the fly, make recommendations, fix spelling and grammar, translating text, all of this will be native in the product, powered by Microsoft OpenAI. And Aruna is here today. She's going to talk a little bit about how Microsoft's actually building out their AI infrastructure and the opportunity that presents. But we are very closely working with Microsoft as well on some of the point features that we're developing in our products, as well as our broader strategic vision on AI that I'll get to in a second. And while there's a lot of focus today around AI, we are not losing sight of the fact that the metaverse is still a thing that just kind of howls on in the background. It's getting less attention today, but we know that big brands are trying to understand how they can reach into those opportunities. Whether it becomes the metaverse or whether it becomes some sort of combined augmented reality experience. We know that consumers are changing how they're going to interact with technology. And so we want to make sure that we're there. So right now, the foundational element is, how do I make sure that I can install and manage a 3D object in the same way I do any of the other type of digital experiences? So we're working directly with NVIDIA to integrate with their Omniverse product to make sure that if you're an actual 3D object creator, that you have access to a centralized repository. This will allow you to manage the assets, the 3D assets in our Content Hub DAM, but also to expose the 2D assets in the Content Hub to a 3D artist so they can actually overlay that into their experience. So as we see customers moving away from even traditional content creation workflows to actually using digital twins, for example, to actually accelerate content production, we see kind of Content Hub sitting at the forefront of supporting those use cases. And so, I think we've got about 15 minutes left, and I think, we do want to spend a little bit of time about where we're going with AI. And again, this is a very prominent topic in the industry. We're kind of at the tip of the hype cycle. Gartner feels we're about to crash down into the trail of disillusionment. That's probably true, but the reality is we're accelerating through that trail so fast that they think within the next 2 to 3 years, actually, we're going to be plateaued towards productivity. So it's a really kind of interesting point that we're in, is that this wave is happening faster than any wave that came before it, and the technology is moving through this process faster than anything before it. But we wanted to make sure that we didn't just build bells and whistles on top of the product, but we want to make sure we actually do so in a way that's meaningful for customers. And the good thing about Sitecore is we didn't have to create new problems to solve. We already solved all these problems. right? So generative AI is like fit for purpose for us to own the content creation process and the digital experience process. And so we didn't have to go kind of conjure up new ideas on how to leverage AI. We just need to basically layer it into the way we do business. And so that's what we're doing. And so we did sign a milestone agreement with Microsoft. We're very, very happy about the partnership there. We direct access their engineers, both on the Azure Search side as well as in their OpenAI office. And so we're working directly with them to kind of build what you're about to see, that hopefully we can kind of get into customers' hands in the next months with a big reveal at Symposium. But AI is not new for us either, right? We've had AI tools inside of our products all along. We expect customers to also have their own ideas on how they want to leverage AI. So we want to make our products extensible so you can bring your own AI, or you can lay your own AI as you think it's necessary. But we also want to make sure we can deliver that ourselves. Sitecore is one of two companies that can probably say that they have access to the world's largest asset repositories. So we've got some of the largest CPG companies in the world that have every single one of their assets stored in Sitecore. And that gives them the opportunity to have a vast, rich assortment of data that they can use to ground the creation of assets without worrying about using third-party asset creation libraries or run the risk of copyright infringement. So we actually have the ability to ground our AI tools with a scale of content that is unmatched by maybe one or two others. And I'm sure you can guess the other one. So, but it's important for us to kind of make sure we understand that, we want to create a full end-to-end life cycle for our customers. And this doesn't have products on it for a reason, because we want to make sure customers understand that we can help you wherever you are in this journey. So whether you're looking to create content, whether you understand the best content to write, whether to facilitate its management curation, you want to deliver, create experiences from that content, measure the effectiveness of that content. You want to then take insights from those experiences back to the marketer so they can make better decisions with their content. This is fundamental to what we do. And if we can do so by kind of layering AI into this journey, we can accelerate the path that customers take throughout this infinity loop. And so I'll go back. I didn't kick off this video properly. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek. You may have already seen this. This is on our website. But I did want to share this with you as kind of a kind of video, a marketing package on kind of what we're building, and then I'll kind of take you through some of the details as well in coming slides.
Take your campaigns from ideation to activation seamlessly and faster than ever with fully integrated AI. Start with an easy import of your brand style for AI to learn how to work for you. Quickly generate a complete creative brief using AI to help research related topics, competitors, and past campaigns. Feel confident your global teams are empowered with what they need to be productive, to deliver digital assets with AI editing, streamlined content generation, and a single location for campaign managers to provide feedback and improvements. When it's time to build a digital experience, AI gives your digital teams a starting point, using your brand, creative brief, and insights into expected performance. You choose to further refine with AI or simple drag and drop capabilities, and AI will proactively provide recommendations to help hit your campaign targets. After launch, AI continues working for you to recommend ways to enhance the experience. Sitecore's integrated AI will understand your brand unlike any other, so you create a multi-channel experience personalized for every customer. And take your vision to new heights. Get ready for the possibilities.
All right, what do you guys think? Exciting, right? So what I want to do is actually take you through kind of some of the details of what's going on and what you saw here. And the first thing that we wanted to do was actually, all of us have used ChatGPT, I'm sure, at this point, and actually get a sense for how it works. But the reality is oftentimes it's a bit flat. It's not really tied to kind of any specific brand tone. So what we want to do is build a brand kit application that actually can understand your brand natively and actually use that understanding to actually inform decisions that it's taking to generate new content or evaluate existing content against that brand interpretation. So whether that's the color, the color, the brand tone, whether it's the specific voice you want to use, whether it's voices by persona. We want to be able to provide a robust kind of foundational data set to actually help inform the actual, the next wave of kind of innovation that we want to do, grounded in that instruction. And so this is really, I think, the key element to what we're building, and this is going to be something we're working towards Symposium to make this available. And this brand kit will be available for all of our products as a shared kind of AI kind of assistant. And so if we think about the content life cycle, we definitely know that one of the hardest parts about content creation is actually kind of create the creative brief. And I think this is oftentimes something that gets kind of skipped for time, right? So how do you kind of ensure that people are given the right instructions to generate content in the right way? So we think that while content can be created using these tools as well, it can also facilitate the actual briefing of individuals so they can actually inform their agencies to actually create content on their behalf. So how do we kind of accelerate that process? And if we have this research assistant that actually knows your brand, it can actually reach out and actually grab information about your competitors and basically help you understand how they're messaging on certain topics, what's working in the market, using kind of SEO keyword intelligence as well. So we really think that this kind of brand assistant can sit at the center of all of your marketers' kind of creation processes and actually help accelerate the development of new content. We're also going to reimagine the entire work management platform for Sitecore. So we do expect by the end of this calendar year to have a task management engine that actually supports and is interoperable with all of our products, all of our SaaS products. So the ability to actually track tasks and management across Content Hub and X Cloud is something that we're working on, and then we're going to be considering how we can make this available for platform users as well. Here are several content creation examples as well. First is the generation of a blog post with AI-assisted brand review. So if you know your brand really well, how do you kind of make recommendations to the author to make sure that it's actually fitting to those brand expectations? And so being able to actually understand and evaluate the content as it's being developed will actually cut down on review cycles that you might need down the road. So being able to actually make sure at a glance you understand whether the content's ready for the next phase. For me, just make sure the video. I want to make sure the video is playing. Okay. So the next one is with direct integration into your DAM. You get a full natural language deep search experience to actually allow you to actually ask normal human language questions to your DAM and actually get assets back that satisfy that request, to give you actually the ability to make recommendations also for assets to be used in specific contexts. So if you already know, right, if you're in the system and you say, okay, I want to build a campaign, you have a ton of contextual information you already know about that campaign. You shouldn't have to go wait for the marketer to actually interpret that and actually search the asset library for it. You can actually start to make recommendations automatically. So I know what the intent of this campaign is. I know the broad strokes of what we're trying to do. Maybe these assets might be relevant. Or maybe these assets have performed really well in similar contexts. So how do you kind of inform and enrich the entire experience to make sure you're surfacing the right assets for activation very, very quickly? And once you found the asset you want, how do we provide AI-based modification tools? So really kind of democratize some of the activation needs that marketers often have to go through to get fit-for-purpose assets when they actually want to make it available on the website. So whether that's cropping, whether that's kind of simple background changes, whether it's extending backgrounds, these are things that oftentimes require you to take an asset out, use Creative Cloud, and actually Photoshop and put it back in the system. But how do you actually make sure some of these tools are available directly to the marketer upon activation, so they don't have to go back to a creative and actually have a new asset generated for them? And with template and design options on the bottom, we'll basically allow Gen AI to kind of make recommendations for fit-for-purpose channel assets. So if I'm looking to communicate on one channel or maybe multiple channels, having the system automatically recommend a set of creative elements kind of that already fit and are repackaged for those particular channels. So this is important for us. All of this stuff that will be done in our web application, we want to make sure it's also available so that marketers can continue to use the tools that they're familiar with, specifically creative. So we're going to be integrated with Canva, with Creative Cloud, etc. So we're not trying to force people to use a web application if they don't want to. We want to make sure that we can meet them where they are and allow them to continue to use the tools that they're comfortable with. And again, this is a more visual representation of what I've said a couple times here, which is around how do we actually create a much deeper search experience for your asset repository. So being able to actually ask for assets for a Berlin winter campaign, to having the system automatically understand assets that are relevant for Berlin. So I can see that I've got the Brandenburg Gate there, so the system is aware enough that these assets are relevant for Berlin. Now, I didn't have to actually tag these assets with Berlin. It's actually visually understood using these language models. And so it's an incredibly powerful tool that's going to fundamentally, I think, change the way people will actually look and search for assets in their asset repositories. And if we go back to content, what we do see, and this has kind of been a kind of continuum, the constant tensions in a lot of content workflows is really the balance between the free-form expression of content that your marketers want and the structured presentation format in which you need to activate it. Right? So the tension between the content model and the author is something that actually is quite real, and that intersection is kind of constantly a challenge, right? So headless CMS is fantastic, but impose the content model on top of marketers. Marketers go, I don't want to write structured content, I just want to write in Word. I want to write somewhere else. And so we see constantly all these kind of tools that people are bleeding out of the processes because they want to just have free-form written content. With AI, what we can allow to do is actually write the content naturally and potentially even recommend the content model to support that content, or vice versa. So AI can start to actually accelerate the ability for you to take free-form written content and actually fit it into your existing model, or potentially even recommend a new model to support that new need. So this is changing fundamentally that intersection between the writers and the actual delivery teams. The other thing too is if you don't have to worry anymore about whether content matches your components. You can let AI do that for you. You can write what you want, and AI will suggest the best component that can fit and support that content type. And if it doesn't fit, you can propose components that would. So it's a really important kind of ecosystem that can kind of inform each other, both kind of combining the writer's experience with the presentation experience in the downstream processes. As we get into kind of building a new page experience, the AI page builder can suggest page layouts to you based on specific activation needs. So what might have worked in a similar use case in the past? What did we see really good engagement on? And using that to actually make recommendations to the marketers so they can accelerate the creation and the launch of new experiences. So this will be either very precise or very creative, depending on your kind of your flexibility or your tolerance for those sorts of things. But the idea here is that you kind of use the engine to actually make recommendations and going beyond just simply traditional AI methods, but actually using the generative AI elements to kind of inform this even further. The other is when you get to the component building level, we've spent the last year and a half building a completely new experience for building visual components at Sitecore. The reality is that prompting is actually taking that away, right? The ability to actually create a component from scratch in a WYSIWYG tool probably seems like the year 2000, right? Like that's how fast the market's moving. But at the end of the day, the technology that we built to actually support the component builder still remains relevant to us. We just have to change our thinking and actually move generative AI to the front and actually allow the prompt to actually generate the first pass component and then give the marketer the tools to refine it as needed. Right? So changing the expectation of who's actually going to create the 0 to 60 type of, who's going to do that first acceleration and who's going to finish the job. And so allowing Gen AI to really kind of prompt you and push you to do 80% of the work or 90% of the work and then refine to fit your needs. And lastly, I think as we get to making recommendations and how to personalize at scale, how to do experimentation and testing. We call this inside of Sitecore the hesitant marketer. I think all marketers know they need to be doing this. They just don't know where to begin. And so we're looking at ways to actually allow AI to inform the marketer and make recommendations for them so they can get started faster. So how do I kind of start with experimentation? How do I start with personalization? and use AI to make proactive AI recommendations of what might work for a particular use case. And we think this is fundamentally going to change. It's going to lower the barrier of entry for personalization testing. And it's also going to accelerate, I think, the adoption of these tools as well. Because I think oftentimes people kind of just give up and they kind of just move on to something else because it's ultimately very challenging to kind of implement a personalization strategy. I think we've seen that, and you guys all know this probably better than anybody. So how do we kind of accelerate the adoption of these tools and make it easier for people to unlock the value of them? So that's a little bit of a sneak peek of kind of what we're cooking. Again, I wanted to be thrilled to be able to welcome you with the keynote presentation.